So can you talk a little bit about what that transition was like? When did you start pushing content for that as opposed to advertising the book?
Right. So I think the pandemic obviously, changed a lot about, who we are and how we do things. And the pandemic gave all of us a chance to sit back and, recalibrate, figure out who we are, and really take a deep dive into the parts of ourselves that we didn't really like.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Adam Nessum Show. Today, I'm with Dr. Kojo Sarfo, who is a social media content creator, mental health nurse practitioner, and psychotherapist with over 1 million followers on all of his social media channels. He's really big on TikTok, Instagram, and I see you also have that YouTube coming up now as well. He posts skits, songs, and videos in order to bring people together and to promote mental health awareness. On his TikTok channel, he uses relevant trends and popular music to educate individuals about mental health conditions and the importance of self-care. Dr. Sarfo is also the author of an Amazon best-selling book entitled You Already Won. So thanks so much for coming on. Excited to talk to you.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's a real pleasure and honor to be on.
Awesome. So can you just, for the listeners who might not know who you are, just give a little bit of your background and how you got into being a nurse practitioner and then also really big on social media?
Yeah, so I'm a full-time content creator, mental health advocate, and my background is interesting. I feel like I'm not even supposed to be here because originally I didn't even want to go into healthcare. I didn't know what I wanted to do. When I left high school, and I remember 17-year-old me, my dad and I, were in the car, and he realized I had no plan, and he was like, "All right, I need you to promise me at least do something. Like do like a 2-year nursing degree, like an associate's degree." And I'll stop bugging you. You can do whatever you want with your life. I happened to do that, and I didn't fail the program, and I kept going. And I took a job at a psych hospital when I was 21 as a psych RN there, and I learned so much from the charge nurses, the techs, the patients, the LPNs, the nurse practitioners, the psychiatrists, the medical doctors there, and I got to the point where I wanted to go back to school. So I went back for my DNP, the Doctor of Nursing Practice, to get the nurse practitioner. And after that, as I was doing that, I was actually teaching at Augusta University. Yeah, so I was teaching the nursing students. I was doing some lectures, but also taking them to clinicals, teaching them about mental health and, mental health awareness and how things look like for patients when they're hospitalized. Once I graduated from Augusta University, I got my DNP. I went to Southern Virginia, and I was working at an inpatient state hospital there, doing forensic psychiatry with a team of other providers, dealing with a very vulnerable population. I was bored on the weekends, to be honest with you, so I didn't have much to do. So that's why I started to post online on TikTok, and the app was very frustrating initially. I nearly deleted the app because I didn't know how it worked. Like TikTok has its own thing. Like the TikTok algorithm is unlike YouTube or Instagram or anything else. It's really its own world. And if you're on TikTok, you know what I'm talking about. So I was just posting out of boredom, and initially I got on there, to be honest, to promote my book. It didn't work because people didn't know who I was. People didn't want to hear about a book.
Gotcha. So when did you write the book originally?
The book was written towards the end of 2018 and like the first half of 2019. It was released September 29th, 2019.
Got it. And then you jumped on TikTok to promote the book, and then it kind of took off in, sounds like, other ways.
Right. Yeah. The book thing didn't work. I mean, now it's working because they got to know who I was, but initially it didn't work. But then I was watching other medical professionals on the app, and I didn't realize that you had people who were like professional, who had gone to school on TikTok. Like it wasn't just like small girls dancing. It was nurses, doctors, lawyers, engineers, scientists. So once I figured out how to tell my story, things just took off for me, and it went like it got bigger than I expected.
Yeah, wow, that's really cool. I actually didn't know that you really never had plans or have been doing social media for that long. Because if you start, like I was building up an Instagram following before TikTok even existed, and you're like 1 million plus followers on the platforms, and didn't even get into it potentially for the messages that you're spreading now, which is like mental
Right.
health awareness, et cetera. That's very interesting. So can you talk a little bit about what that transition was like? When did you start pushing content for that as opposed to advertising the book, which I'm sure now naturally just is your personal brand is a good advertisement for that.
Right. So I think the pandemic, obviously, changed a lot about, who we are and how we do things. And the pandemic gave all of us a chance to sit back and, recalibrate, figure out who we are, and really take a deep dive into the parts of ourselves that we didn't really like and the things that we had to address. So as we were all on this healing journey during the pandemic, I think just coming as myself, as Kojo, as a mental health advocate, and as somebody who's passionate about helping people, not only that, but also helping myself, I think that's what really, made things click for me. Because I didn't come as Dr. Kojo or as somebody with 3 degrees or an advanced practice nursing degree or all these years of nursing experience or having a doctorate. I just came as myself. And I think people really appreciate the fact that obviously he's a professional, but he's also coming as himself. So people would ask, legitimate questions, and I would answer them, so I would talk about not being able to see my family for half of the year, last year. I talked about, going through a breakup in the middle of the pandemic. And I think people like the transparency. And I think that's what really kind of clicked, because once they saw that I was like a human being, but I'm also like giving, free mental health tips, I think that combination right there really drew people to me. And I realized the more vulnerable I was, like people would like latch onto my message, and word of mouth is a powerful thing. So they would share my videos to other people,
right,
who would share it to other people. And I think it may have triggered something in the algorithm, but it just
all of a sudden. What was that moment? Was there like a one viral moment where you just took off, or like do you recall where you went from it was struggling to you broke through the TikTok algorithm?
So it was a series of videos. So I made a couple of comedy videos early on that had a lot of likes, and that gave me the confidence to know, okay, you can go viral on this app. I think the video that really took off for me was one I made about premenstrual dysphoric disorder.
Gotcha.
I had a TikTok supporter of mine. She was like, hey, talk about PMDD because it's a lot worse than PMS, and a lot of women are really struggling with it. And I've never seen anybody talk about it. So I was like, yeah, sure. PMDD is a actual mental health condition. It's not just PMS. And I looked online, I couldn't find people talking about it. So I made like a little dancing video, the dancing video. And I put this captions over. I put like the symptoms of PMDD and what happens before your cycle. And at the end, I just put, something along the lines of recovery is possible. You don't have to suffer in silence or something like that. And that video probably has like maybe 4 or 5 million views now, maybe more. But it had like, I posted it in my office in Virginia, and I went to the gym. When I came back home, it had like 700,000 views. And then that's when people at work really like found out about my TikTok account.
You were exposed. That's when you were exposed.
Right. Is that awkward moment when they're like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe
I know that moment."
200,000 on TikTok. Like, I didn't know you were big on the app. And then they were asking about my book, and then they want me to sign. They would buy my book and then ask me to sign the book. But I think that PMB video is the one that really shifted it for me, because it went viral so fast. I was like, wow, because you usually see other creators go viral, but I didn't know that like my videos could shoot off that fast.
When it's like one video that brings in like thousands and thousands of followers, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, like 40, 50K in a day, and you're sitting there
wild.
Like, wow.
Yeah.
Unheard of.
And that comes too, though, like, I mean, not always, but you, I'm sure, had a lot of other videos already out there that was quality content, even though it wasn't getting the views. So when someone comes over to your page from the one video, they see, oh, this person gives other good value, I'm going to follow, rather than just like, because if you only had one other video maybe and it was bad quality, you're not going to get as many followers unless you're already a household name that people know they're going to want to follow you. But they could see like you have a track record, you're posting consistently and giving value. Then even just that one video is going to convert to a lot of followers.
Cool. So I agree.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was saying I really agree with that.
So people are start buying your book now, and you're signing books, which I'm sure was pretty cool. What can you tell the listeners what's the book about?
So the book is about, the book is called You Already Won, A Journey Through Education, Nursing, and Mental Health Awareness. So the book takes you through, my childhood. It's almost like a memoir, but I'm telling two stories at once. So I'm talking about my journey, growing up, struggling in school, not knowing what to do after high school, being told I shouldn't go to college, and then, getting into college, and then, going through nursing school, and then, what I was doing at that time. Like I had a clothing company that was, promoting mental health awareness. So we had a partnership with Mental Health America. So I talked about, my journey from, a struggling child in school all the way to, me graduating with my DNP. And at the same time, I was talking about the importance of mental health awareness too. So I was telling two stories at once. It's like a memoir, but then there's also like a self-help book in a sense.
Gotcha. So what are some of the pearls people can take away from the book, like in regards to, and I know you post a lot of this content on TikTok and Instagram as well, but in terms of self-care?
Yes. So there's many like gems I drop within the book. One of them is I say other people's opinion of you are none of your business, and that's something to help you stay insular and not be too worried about people's opinions, because they can derail you and make you feel worse about yourself. And I talk about the importance of, asking for help, saying that there's nothing wrong with asking for help. And, we're all going to need help at some point in our lives. And the strongest thing that you can do is to ask for help. And I also talk about being diagnosed with ADHD when I was 25, in the middle of my, graduate degree. So I talk about that. And it's funny because now ADHD is a big thing to talk about on TikTok. But back then in 2019, 2018, when I was writing the book, nobody was talking about it. So,
Right.
And that was the one part of my book that I actually contemplated taking out, because I was like a little insecure about that. Like I thought to myself, if I ever get big, and I didn't know things would happen this quickly, but I thought to myself, okay, like if I get big, when I get big or I'm successful, what if people attribute the fact that while he was in school for his graduate degree, he was taking ADHD medication? And I'm like, I have ADHD, but then there's still a stigma behind it. So that was the part that I kind of played taking out of the book, but I left it in there. And that was like me being vulnerable and being transparent. So it backed up, me talking about asking for help and being transparent by
I feel like it would almost be contrary to some of the advice you give if you removed it, because and you're showing that you could succeed with something like ADHD, and you can get 3 graduate degrees and become a social media star and have businesses, all of that, and it didn't hold you back. And so I feel like that's a great message for anyone else that has ADHD of what they can accomplish.
Right. And I appreciate that, because a lot of people who have bought my book, I'm sure is because they have ADHD. And I read a lot of the DMs and messages of people saying, I bought the book, I sent it to my niece, and she loved it. Thank you for, putting your story out there. So it was also a confidence booster for me, because once you put it out there in print, like you can delete a TikTok video, right? But once you put it in print, it's in people's homes, like they have it.
Yeah, it's there. It's not going anywhere. Yeah, absolutely. Although nowadays, I feel like everything is saved on the internet. I'm sure there's like sites that save all your TikTok videos.
True,
anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah. I know what you're saying.
I completely agree with that. That is a good point.
Cool. So what do you have going on now? What's your like day to day like in terms of? I see you doing some certain collaborations with companies. Is this
right?
This has to be like a whole new experience. People asking for you to promote them and meeting celebrities and other influencers. Can you talk a little bit about that? I know you just moved to LA.
Right. It's a whole new world. It's a whole new world. And the hardest part is not knowing, like, you don't know your left from your right, in a sense. Like, you don't know what to expect every day. Like back in Virginia, I knew what to expect. Like you go in, a patient will come from the jail, you read the charges, you update the diagnosis, you get them on the right meds, refer them out to therapy, wash, rinse, repeat. Like I knew what to expect every single day. Now I don't. I have my certain things I do every day. I wake up in the morning, I get the dog out, I read the emails. I have a daily report that my assistant creates for me. So we'll look on a daily report where he'll look through all the emails, he'll prioritize them, for any brand deals, any potential collaborations. If it's something that needs to be done sooner than later, we'll hop on that, sign a contract, and then keep it moving, as long as it's something that's consistent within the brand. And then after I'm done with that, then I sit here, I have all these different sticky notes, and I have like 7 right here, and these are just like content creation ideas. So some YouTube reaction videos, some skits for TikTok, and then people want to see a certain dance. So I write these things out, and I'll create content like around like 11 o'clock California time to like maybe 3 o'clock California time. Like I give myself around like 3 or 4 hours to really make content, because if I try to make content all day, I won't have the best ideas. So I give myself
I
like
like
a
that.
space of time to create content. If I don't get it done by then I'll just do it tomorrow, you know. So I create content in the middle of the day, I read emails in the beginning. And then, you know, if there's any events, like there's an event here in LA, like a Disney premiere, something like that. I should know the name, but I'm headed to that tonight. You know, it's good for exposure, promotion, things like that. So it's difficult managing everything. It really is hard. It's very hard. And
Yeah, I don't think people realize how much work goes into, you know, posting a 30-second TikTok and being consistent with that, and like managing brand deals and everything that comes with that world. It seems like, oh, that's easy. I'm gonna do that.
No, it's super hard, and you need a team. You know, I started off with one assistant who I've had him since like November 29th, almost like a year and a half now. And he's been my primary assistant, and it's paying off, because like I was pouring tons of money into that even when I was back in Virginia, like working. And now like we've really created a brand that can stand for itself. And now I have 2 more assistants on the team, and people help out with video editing, and
yeah. So I was gonna say that's got to be. I always get asked, how do I like make all these videos and have time to study while I'm in medical school? And I'm my secret, which I don't usually tell, is like I have 3 people that helps me edit videos. Yeah. Like otherwise I wouldn't be able to do it all.
Exactly. And your brand is impressive. Like it, like, you know, like with medical school, you have the, you know, the running, you know, stereotype that you don't have a life. Like
exactly. Yeah.
No, you can't date. You can't post on social media. You can't go to events. You have to stay in the house and study, and your mental health is going to be ruined. You're going to get no sleep. But you built an impressive brand on TikTok and Instagram. You know, you're verified. Like that's impressive. And it takes a team, and you at some point you have to be able to delegate tasks.
100%.
Because you can't do everything by yourself. You know, you want to, but you really can't.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate that. And yeah, that's like my goal, I think, with some of the content I produce is I do a lot of the actual education stuff, but it's to just show also that your life's not on hold for the 4 or 5 years that you're in medical school, and then the 3 to 7 years that you're in residency.
I love it so much. The landscape's changing. So like by the time, like the way it is for people who are big on social media, like you and, you know, Dr. Jake Goodman, by the time you're an attending, will you even have to like see patients on a day-to-day? Or I mean, you can like as you want to, but like the world is yours. Like you're gonna have the paradox of choice. There's too many things to do. Like,
yeah, 100%.
Good brand.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like the brand, just having a personal brand. I think today's day and age, even if it's a small brand or something, as long as you're comfortable being online, like I definitely think there's so many ancillary benefits that people don't even realize. And so but it's difficult. Like sometimes it's like you're not getting as many views, or you're putting out all this content and work, and it feels like you're going the opposite direction.
Right.
But I agree. Just thinking long term, like I'd love to probably at some point have like a sports medicine practice and see patients a couple of days a week, then work on the other projects a couple of days a week. And I think having the personal brand, like you're doing a great job building, will just only benefit that, hopefully.
Everybody wins, including the patients that, you know, we serve on the back end, because you're going to be doing it because you actually want to do it, not because you're drowning in debt. You already have.
Well, money. Yeah, it's so funny. People always say, oh, like, for example, they're like, you're doing this for money. I'm thinking like, I think I'm at like Like business is good. Like I probably would make more money if I
Right.
only did business
Right.
versus going into medicine. But
Medicine, yeah.
now I could now I know, like, I'm practicing because I want to see patients, and
Exactly.
that's a better experience for them. So
That's huge right there. And the healthcare system in this country obviously is flawed, and there's small things that we hope we can do to help that out. But when people are doing something because they want to do it versus them being forced to do it, it makes a huge difference. And I think we can pull that off today because of the social media presence that we've created.
100%. And yeah, I do think that it's hopefully shifting a little bit in terms of doctor. I mean, there's still a very high burnout rate. I'm sure you probably talk
Yeah.
about this too when it comes to mental health side.
Mhm.
But when it's not that you have to work 6 days a week, 12 hours a day. I mean, residency is one thing, but after the fact, like, because you feel like you have to keep up with a certain
Right.
lifestyle or make a certain amount of
Mhm.
money, then you have less burnout. You enjoy your job more, and that's just better for everyone.
Yeah, it's much like the social media thing. Of course, social media can be good and bad, but when it's done correctly, and not everybody's doing it correctly. Some people honestly think they can post 2 videos and one goes viral and they have a brand. No, it takes work, like the day in and day out. Like it takes work, but if you can do it, if you can pull it off, I think you stand a chance of really having the life that you want to have, which is going to help everybody out.
Yeah, I love that. Love that. All right. So last thing, what do you have going on right now? Like, what are some of your future business goals, or are you seeing patients? Where do you see yourself in the next couple of years?
So I just finished a 3-month telepsych contract back in Virginia out of jail. So company reached out to me and said that a psychiatrist had she was about to have her baby. So she was going to have her baby and taking 3 months off, and they wanted me to do telepsych from here in Los Angeles and help back at a jail in Virginia. So I did that. I woke up at 5 a.m. every morning. I did that for 3 months, and now that's over with, back to full-time practice. I would like to see patients at least maybe 1 or 2 days a week. In California, I'm also working on an Arizona license as well. So I would like to do that because I enjoy seeing patients, and it's good to keep up with, the evidence. Because when I was seeing patients during that 3-month contract, I was, once again, I was checking up to date on a regular basis. I
Yeah.
was going through the
For,
literature.
for any of the listeners, up to date is like the secret doctor Google.
Right. And it kept me, and evidence changes so fast. There's always like a groundbreaking study, or the FDA might do this or that. So it kept me up to date with that, which is really cool. So I would like to see patients at least once or twice a week, if I can make that happen. But I have a podcast coming out in actually at the end of this month, early next month. What's good with Dr. Kojo, where I'm going to be talking to uh, TikTok influencers, and also I guess online influencers, because we can include people who are big on Instagram as well, and celebrities here in LA, talking about mental health awareness and the topics that I posted about on my TikTok, whether it's eating disorders, PTSD, depression, anxiety, ADHD. We'll talk about those topics in depth, but we'll also, I want there to be like a personal side, like a laid back type style to the podcast. I don't want us to like dive into the information and make it serious. I want it to be like a laid back, take a laid back approach to talk about these issues, mental health and
Got
dating.
it.
How do you talk to somebody about what you're going through, how we're all adjusting, with the pandemic, and how we have to find a new normal. So I'll be diving into those topics in my podcast. It will be available on YouTube, because I want it to be, in video format as well.
Mm-hmm.
And also it'll be available on Stitcher, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. And then we'll have the clips of the podcast on Instagram as the reels, and also on TikTok as well. So that's this past month and a half. That's what I've been doing, preparing for the podcast, lining up the guests, purchasing equipment, getting the LLC set up, which is all very, very boring, tedious, and hard
Yeah.
work. But I'm hopeful that it'll pay off.
I'm sure it will. I'm sure that a lot of people who listen to that or watch it are going to get a lot of value seeing, their favorite celebrities or influencers talking about mental health, probably. I'm not probably. I know will make people feel less alone if they have similar feelings.
Right.
So good luck with that.
That's the goal.
Wishing you the best. I look forward to seeing it. And where can our viewers or listeners find you?
So TikTok, I guess that's my biggest platform. So it's at dr.kojo on TikTok. On Instagram is just at Dr. Kojo. And if you go to those two social media profiles, there's like a beacons link with in there, and if you click the link, it'll take you to my website, merch, the podcast information, and all the other ways to find me online. So I would say either on TikTok at Dr.Kojo or Instagram at Dr. Kojo.
Love it. Well, you heard it here. Go check them out. And I look forward to seeing that podcast when it comes out.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that, Adam.